Shalom. Welcome to our Shabbat morning service. Today is we will be doing service number 1, which is on page 105. Welcome to those that are in the sanctuary, those that are joining us on Zoom, and also those who are with us on social media. And a big thanks beforehand to everybody who is helping out with the service today in various ways, not least Judy, who is Zoom hosting, and Ezekiel, who is operating the camera for us. And I hope Stuart will lead us with the announcements at the appropriate time. So heads up, Stuart, if you weren't expecting that. We begin the service with Ma Tovu. Ma tovu afalecha Yaakov, mishkanotecha Yisrael, v'ani b'rov chazdecha avo veitecha, eshtachaveh elchecha kodshecha, b'yiratecha, Adonai, ahavti me'on beitecha, u'makom mishkan kavodecha. V'ani eshtachaveh ve'echlecha, Evrecha lifnei Adonai osi, v'ani tefilati lecha Adonai et ratzon. Elohim brov chazdecha, aneni ba'emet yishecha, aneni ba'emet yishecha. As we say the prayers of our ancestors, help us, O God, to remember their faith and devotion, their joy and suffering, and make us worthy of our heritage. May the tradition we have received live in us and pass from us to generations we shall never know, enriched by the truth we have found and the good that we have done. So may we fulfill our task on earth and receive our blessing. Let us continue in English together. Eternal God, school us in your teachings and make us loyal to your commandments. May we never consent to evil or surrender to temptation or self-contempt. Help us to rise above selfishness and make us responsive to the voice of conscience. Direct our every impulse to your service. Today and every day may we merit kindness and compassion in your sight and in the sight of all who behold us, and let us know your love. We praise you, O God, for the love you daily show us. Baruch atah Adonai, Omer chasadim tovim. At the dawn I seek you, my sole refuge, rock and guide. Set my prayer before you in the morning, worship you at eventide. Now before your greatness do I stand in awe and fear. All the thoughts that in my heart are hidden, to your seeing eye are clear. What, however, is it human heart and tongue can do? What is this, my strength, and what within me is my spirit before you? Yet it gives you pleasure when your children sing your praise. Therefore, while your spirit dwells within me, I will thank you for all my days. Baruch she'amar v'chaya ha'olam baruch hu. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, ha'mucholal b'fi amo, משובח ומפואר בלשון חסידיו ועבודיו, בשפחות ובזמרות לגדלך ונמליך מלכנו יחיד חי העולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני מלך מחולל ותשבחו. We praise you, sovereign God, whom all praise is due. Happy are those who dwell in your house, who are ever singing your praise. Happy the people on whom such blessing falls. Happy the people whose God is the Eternal One. And may I ask for the following responsive reading. I need to come round to see who's with us. John and Jackie, are you both with us this morning? It says John and possibly Jackie Morrison.
Yes, we both are. Well, I'm with you.
Would you like to read for us?
Let me just put myself back on video. Sorry. That's better. Oh, sorry there. I was listening rather than paying attention. So, yes, I'm with you now. I'm in the flesh. So you'd like me to read, will you?
Wonderful. Is Jackie there with you?
No. She's out this morning. So that's why I said possibly. She may be coming in. She may not be.
Okay, all right. So in that case, if you can read the passages starting with capitals, and then we'll join you in the sanctuary with the italics. John, okay. Is that okay?
Okay. So always I will exalt you, my sovereign God,
and praise your name forever.
Beginning each day with praise.
I will extol your name forever.
Cause us to see your greatness is beyond us.
Eternal One, forever to be praised.
Declaring your works to each generation.
We bear witness to your mighty acts.
Even as they speak of your splendor.
So I will meditate on your wonderful deeds.
Or as they tell of your awesome might.
So I will recount your greatness.
Great is your goodness, which they celebrate.
As they sing of your righteousness.
Holding us in your grace and compassion.
You are patient and abounding in love.
In your goodness, eternal God.
You have mercy on all your creatures.
Joyfully your works shall thank you.
And your faithful ones shall praise you.
Knowing how great is your majesty.
They proclaim your might.
Let all humanity perceive your power.
And the glorious splendor of your redemption.
Mighty is your rule and everlasting.
Your reign endures in all generations.
O God, you support the falling.
And raise up all who are bowed down.
Pleading, all look in hope to you.
And you give them their food in due season.
Quietly you open your hand.
And satisfy the needs of every living creature.
Righteous are you in all your ways.
And loving in all your deeds.
So near are you to all who call upon you.
To all who call upon you in truth.
The desire of those who revere you, you fulfill.
You hear their cry and help them.
Unceasingly our lips shall sing God's praise.
So may all creatures laud God's holy name forever. Good job. ואנחנו נברך יה מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah. I'll ask the congregation to please stand. Let us say together. ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו, האל המלך הגדול והקדוש, בשמיים ובארץ. כי לך נאה אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו, שיר ושבחה, הלל וזמרה, ברכות והודאות, מעתה ועד עולם. ברוך אתה אדוני, הבוחר ישרי זמרה. We praise you, O God. May you accept our songs of praise. Turn to page 135, where the service continues. Please be seated. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, yotzer u'vorei hoshem, oseh shalom u'vorei et hakol, hameir la'aretz v'nadarim aleya barachamim, ובטובו מחדש בכל יום תמיד מעשה בראשית. מה רבו מעשיך, אדוני? כולם בחוכמה עשית, מלאה ארץ ענייניך. תתברך, אדוני אלוהינו, על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מורה אור שעשית. יפרחו סלע. ברוך אתה, אדוני, יוצר המורות. We praise you, O God, creator of lights. Could I ask Judy to read the next passage for us in English, please? Great is your love.
Great is your love for us, eternal God, and abundant your compassion. Our ancestors trusted in you, and you taught them the laws of life. So be gracious to us and teach us. Incline our hearts to hear your words, to know and understand, to learn and teach, and with love to uphold the truths of your Torah. Enlighten us with your teaching, make us faithful to your commandments, and wholehearted in the love of and awe of your name. For in love you summon us to serve you and proclaim your unity. We praise you, God, in love. You have called your people Israel to serve you. Baruch atah Adonai, haborech ve'emor Yisrael b'ahava.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. 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 Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Le'olam Ha'ed. Baruch Shem Kavod Malchuto, Le'olam Ha'ed. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. וחיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך. ושיננת לבניך ודיברת ושבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך. וקשרת לאות על ידיך והיו לתוצאות בין עיניך ופתחת על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך. You shall love the Eternal One, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your might. Let these words which I command you this day be always in your heart. Teach them diligently to your children. Speak of them in your home and on your way, when you lie down and when you rise up. Bind them as a sign upon your hand. Let them be like frontlets between your eyes. Inscribe them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. Please be seated. למען תשכחו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני Let us continue together in English. Good and beautiful and true, sound, established and enduring are these words now and forever. True it is, Eternal One, that you are our sovereign God and Redeemer, as you were the God and Redeemer of our ancestors. You are our Maker, the rock of our salvation. We have known you always as our helper and our liberator. There is no God but you. Truly, you are first and you are last. We have no Redeemer but you. You redeemed us from Egypt and freed us from the house of bondage. Then, with great joy, Moses, Miriam, and all Israel together sang to you this song. מי כמוך באלם אדוני, מי כמוך בדם בקודש, נולד תהילות אוסף אלה. A new song the redeemed sang to your name at the shore of the sea. With one accord they gave thanks and proclaimed your sovereignty. Adonai lo leolam vaed. Sur Israel, Kuman Ezrat Yisrael, Koaleinu Adonai, Tzvaot Shemo Kadosh Yisrael. Baruch atah Adonai, God Yisrael, God Yisrael. Amen. We praise you, O God, Redeemer of Israel. Please stand for the Amidah on page 140. Adonai Shabbat tivta, ufia gita ilatecha. Adonai Shabbat tivta, ufia gita ilatecha. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu, Elohei Avoteinu ve'Imoteinu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah. האל הגדול, הגיבור וחמורה, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לפני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. ומשיח ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, לחיי מתים אתה רב להושיע. משיב הרוח ומוריד הגשם, מזריח השמש ומוריד הטל. מחלחל חיים בחסד, מחיי מתים ברחמים רבים. צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לישני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה. ונאמן אתה לחיות נג'ים, ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. Please be seated. קדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדשים אותו בשמי מרום ככתוב על יד נביאיך. קדוש, 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו. כבודו מלא עולם. ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו. From your concealment, majestic one, reveal yourself and rule over us, for you are our hope. Yimloch Adonai le'olam, Elohai Tzion, L'dor v'ador, Alleluia. From generation to generation, we will make known your greatness. To the end of time, we will proclaim your holiness. Your praise, O our God, shall never depart from our lips. We praise you, Eternal One, the Holy God. Baruch atah Adonai ha'el ha'kadosh. Let us continue together in English at the bottom of page 142. You inspired our ancestors to hallow this day for your service. When upon its coming, we pause to contemplate our life, we learn anew that we do not live by bread alone, but also by the spiritual nourishment we receive when we open ourselves to your influence. We thank you for the Sabbath day and for the opportunity it offers to enhance the quality of our lives. We thank you for its joy and for its peace. May our worship help us to take into our hearts its message of holiness and consecrate all our days by devotion to what is true, beautiful, and good. Those who keep the Sabbath and call it a delight taste the joy of redemption. The people who hallow the seventh day delight in your goodness. For it pleased you to set this day apart, that we may cherish it above all other days and pause to remember that the world is your creation. Could I ask Peter, could you please read on page 143, Our God and God of our ancestors?
O God and God of our ancestors, may our rest on this day be pleasing in your sight. Sanctify us by your commandments and make us loyal to your teaching. Satisfy us with your goodness, gladden us with your salvation, and purify our hearts to serve you in truth. In your gracious love, eternal one, let the holiness of your Sabbath enter our hearts, and may all Israel who hallow your name be exalted by its peace. We praise you, O God, for the holiness of the Sabbath. Baruch atah Adonai, Kadesh HaShabbat.
144. רצה אדוני אלוהינו בעמך ישראל, ותפילתם באחווה תקבל, ותחיל רצון תמיד עבודת ישראל עמך. ברוך אתה אדוני, שאותך לבדך ביראה נעבוד. We praise you, O God, whom alone we worship in reverence. Modim, 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 anachnu lach. Modim, 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 anachnu lach. We give thanks that you, Eternal One, are our God, as you were the God of our ancestors. You are the rock of our life, the power that shields us in every age. We thank and praise you for our lives, which are in your hand, for our souls, which are in your keeping, for the signs of your presence we encounter every day, and for your wondrous gifts at all times, morning, noon, and night. We praise you, O God, source of goodness, to whom our thanks are due. Baruch atah Adonai, chatov shemcha u'lecha na'eh lechodot. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Ein v'chesed v'rachamim. Ein v'chesed v'rachamim, v'rachamim. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Aleinu ve'al Yisrael. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Amecha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Sim shalom, tova uvracha. Baruch atah Adonai, Oseh HaShalom. We praise you, O God, the source of peace. We pause for silent prayer. You may read the following passages for your own meditations and reflections on this Shabbat. Yehu l'ratzon imrefi. Yehu l'ratzon imrefi. Ve'yon libi lefanecha. Ve'yon libi Adonai suri v'go'ani, suri v'go'ani. May the words of our mouths and the meditation of our hearts be acceptable to you, O God, our rock and our Redeemer. Oseh Shalom b'romav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru timru amen. Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, Yaseh Shalom, Yaseh Shalom, Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Oseh Shalom b'romav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru, amen. Oseh Shalom b'romav, Uyaseh Shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol b'nei Adam. May the Most High, source of perfect peace, grant peace to us, to all Israel, and to all the world. The service continues with the prayer for the sick, for those who are unwell. And because we're streaming the service, we're not going to say the names of those who are in our thoughts and in our prayers aloud, but please do think of them, say the names in your hearts, and if you would like to put the names into the chat for those on Zoom, you're very welcome to do that. So we're going to sing Shabbat, a prayer for healing in song. Judy may have Misha Berach. If you don't have it, that's okay. That's fine.
Yeah, I've got it up already.
Join in if you're able. Misha Berach Avotenu Makor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Tisha Imotenu Makol Abraha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with Refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. So we continue with the Torah service on page 481. You could do, yeah, thank you. So we're giving out books. Just a moment.
We don't need this.
Sorry, what page is the Torah service? What page is the blessings?
So this is, I realise actually that this is the first time I've taken a Torah service in this synagogue building. I've done so online over the past couple of years, and usually when I lead Shabbat morning services, they tend to be study services. So we take out the books, we take out the tables, and and the cups of tea, obviously, and we learn together. But this one is a regular Torah service, so we will be taking out the scrolls, which is a real privilege and an honour for me to be a part of. And indeed, I would think, I'm sure, of course it is, for all of us. It's such an important ritual, and this is something that I will be talking about in my, when I share a few words. I would say, I don't want to say sermon because I don't want to alarm people. It's only two sides, it's been timed at around 5 minutes, so yeah, so please do remain with us. But it will focus on the importance of the ritual of taking out the Torah and reading from the Torah. So we're on page 481. There is none like you, Eternal One. Among the gods people worship, and there are no deeds like yours. Your sovereignty is everlasting, your reign endures from age to age. Joel Esther, may I ask you to come and open the ark, if you will. I can ask everybody to stand, and Ezekiel is going to take the Torah for us. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. Adonai melech, Adonai malach, Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed. לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Echad Eloheinu, Gadol Adonai, Kadosh Shemo. גדלו לאדוני איתי ורמה שמו יחדיו. לך אדוני הגדולה, לך הגבורה, לך תפארת, לך נצח, לך ההוד, כי כל בשמיים ובארץ. לך אדוני הממלכה והמתנשא לכל לראש. Hang around. Wonderful. Please sit. So the Torah portion today will be read by Hagi, who is with us online. I'm just going to check. Let's just see. Hagi, are you with us?
Shalom, Nick.
Yes, wonderful. Okay, so Hagi is all set. That's fabulous. And we have June to read the blessings. So. תעמדי יהודית בת דבורה קריאות התורה.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בכל העמים וענפת לנו את התורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen. Before you read Hagi, June is going to read the translation. And our Torah portion today is Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 1 to 20. So it's in the Parashah Et Hanan.
756.
756, wonderful. Thank you. it. So yeah, 756, and I think that's in the hertz. In the Plout, it's going to be around 180, I think. And in the women's commentary, if you have it, it's going to be around 1067, I believe. So Deuteronomy chapter 4, verses 1 to 20. Okay.
So now, Israel, give heed to the statutes and ordinances that I am teaching you to observe, so that you may live to enter and occupy the land that the Eternal One, the God of your ancestors, is giving you. You must neither add anything to what I command you, nor take away anything from it, but keep the commandments of the Eternal One your God, with which I am charging you. You have seen for yourselves what the Eternal One did with regard to Baal of Peor, how the Eternal One your God destroyed from among you everyone who followed the Baal of Peor, while those of you who held fast to the Eternal One your God are all alive today. See, just as the Eternal One my God has charged me, I now teach you statutes and ordinances for you to observe in the land you are about to enter and occupy. You must observe them diligently, for this will show your wisdom and discernment to the peoples, who when they hear all these statutes will say, surely this great nation is a wise and discerning people. For what other great nation has a God so near to it as the Eternal One our God is whenever we call to him? And by what other great nation has statutes and ordinances as just this entire law that I am setting before you today? But take care and watch yourselves closely, so as neither to forget the things that your eyes have seen, nor to let them slip from your mind all the days of your life. Make them known to your children and your children's children. How you once stood before the Eternal One your God at Horeb, when the Eternal One said to me, assemble the people for me, for I will let them hear my words, so that they may learn to fear me as long as they live on the earth, and may teach their children to do so. You approached and stood at the foot of the mountain, while the mountain was blazing up to the very heavens, shrouded in dark clouds. Then the Eternal One spoke to you out of the fire. You heard the sound of words, but saw no form. There was only a voice. He declared to you his covenant, which he charged you to observe. That is the 10 Commandments. And he wrote them on 2 stone tablets. And the Eternal One charged me at that time to teach you statutes and ordinances for you to observe in the land that you are about to cross into and occupy. Since you saw no form when the Eternal One spoke to you at Horeb out of the fire, take care and watch yourselves closely, if so that you do not act corruptly by making an idol for yourselves in the form of any figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any animal that is on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird that flies in the air, the likeness of anything that creeps on the ground, the likeness of any fish in the water under the earth. And when you look up to the heavens and see the sun, the moon, and the stars, all the host of heaven, do not be led astray. Bow down to them and serve them, things that the Eternal One your God has allotted to all the peoples everywhere under heaven. But the Eternal One has taken you and brought you out of the iron smelter, out of Egypt, to become a people of his very own possession, as you are now.
Hagi Cohen, who teaches our Ulpan, is going to read the Torah portion for us.
ואתה ישראל, שמע אל החוקים ואל המשפטים אשר אנוכי מלמד אתכם לעשות, למען תחיו ובאתם וירשתם את הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהי אבותיכם נותן לכם. לא תוסיפו על הדבר אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם, ולא תגרעו ממנו, לשמור את מצוות אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר אנוכי מצווה אתכם. עיניכם הרואות את אשר עשה אדוני בבעל פאור, כי ככל האיש אשר הלך אחרי בעל פאור, השמידו אדוני אלוהיך מקרבך. ועתה, הדבקים באדוני אלוהיכם, חיים כולכם היום. אדוני ראה, לימדתי אתכם חוקים ומשפטים, כאשר ציווני אדוני אלוהי לעשות כן, בקרב הארץ, אשר אתם באים שמה לרשתה. ושמרתם, ועשיתם כי הוא חוכמתכם ובינתכם לעיני העמים, אשר ישמעון את כל החוקים האלה, ואמרו רק עם חכם ונבון הגוי הגדול הזה. כי מי גוי גדול אשר לא אלוהים קרובים אליו, כי אדוני אלוהינו בכל קראינו אליו. ומי גוי גדול אשר לא חוקים ומשפטים צדיקם, ככל התורה הזאת אשר אנוכי נותן לפניכם היום. רק ישמר לך ושמור נפשך מאוד, פן תשכח את הדברים אשר ראו עיניך, ופן יסורו מלבבך כל ימי חייך. והודעתם לבניך ולבני בניך. יום אשר עמדת לפני אדוני אלוהיך בחורב באמור, אדוני אלוהי, אקהה לי את העם, ואשמיעם את דברי אשר ילמדון ליראה אותי כל הימים, אשר הם חיים על האדמה, ואת בניהם ילמדון. ותקרבון ותעמדון תחת ההר, וההר בוער באש עד לב השמיים, חושך ענן וערפל. וידבר אדוני אליכם מתוך האש, כל דברים אתם שומעים, ותמונה אינכם רואים, זולתי כל. ויגד לכם את בריתו, אשר ציווה אתכם לעשות 10 הדברים, ויכתבם על 2 לוחות אבנים. ואותי ציווה אדוני בעת ההיא ללמד אתכם חוקים, ומשפטים לעשותכם אותם בארץ אשר אתם עוברים לשמה לרשתה. ונשמרתם מאוד לנפשתכם, כי לא ראיתם כל תמונה ביום בו דיבר אדוני אליכם בחורב מתוך האש. פן תשחיתון ועשיתם לכם פסל, תמונת כל סמל תבנית, זכר או נקבה. תבנית כל בהמה אשר בארץ, תבנית כל ציפור כנף אשר תעוף בשמיים. תבנית כל רומש באדמה, תבנית כל דגה אשר במים מתחת לארץ. ופן תישא עיניך השמיימה, וראית את השמש ואת הירח ואת הכוכבים, כל צבא השמיים, ונידחת והשתחווית להם, ואהבת אשר חלק אדוני אלוהיך אותם לכל העמים תחת כל השמיים. ואתכם לקח אדוני, ויוצא אתכם מכור הברזל ממצרים, להיות לו לעם נחלה כיום הזה.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר גואל לנו תורתו אמת וחיי עולם נתן בתורתכם. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Shikoyach, Shikoyach, Agi, beautifully read. Thank you so much. invite Effie to read the Haftarah for us. To come forward. Maybe best perhaps if you do it from there.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר בחר בנים טובים ורצה בדרים בהם חנה אמרים באמת ברוך אתה אדוני הבורא בתורה ובמשה עבדו ובישראל עמו ובאין בארץ בציפר. The Eternal One spoke to Jeremiah at the beginning of the reign of Josiah's son, King Jehoiakim of Judah. The Eternal One said, "Go, stand in the courtyard of the Eternal One's temple. Speak out to the people who are coming from the towns of Judah to worship in the Eternal One's temple. Tell them everything I command you to tell them. Do not leave out a single word. Maybe they will pay attention and each of them will stop living the evil way they do. If they do that, then I will forego destroying them, as I have intended to do because of the wicked things they have been doing. Tell them that the Eternal One says, you must obey me. You must live according to the way I have instructed you in my laws. You must pay attention to the exhortations of my servants, the prophets. I have sent them to you over and over again, but you have not paid any attention to them. If you do not obey me, then I will do to this temple what I did to Sheol. I will make this city an example to be used in curses by people from all nations of the earth." The priests, the prophets, and all the people heard Jeremiah saying these things in the Eternal One's temple. Jeremiah had just barely finished saying all the Eternal One had commanded him to say to all the people. All at once, some of the priests, the prophets, and the people grabbed him and shouted, "You deserve to die. How dare you claim the Eternal One's authority to prophesy such things? How dare you claim his authority to prophesy that this temple will become like Sheol, and that this city will become an uninhabited ruin?" Then all the people crowded around Jeremiah. However, some of the officials of Judah heard about what was happening, and they rushed up to the Eternal One's temple from the royal palace. They set up court at the entrance of the new gate of the Eternal One's temple. Then the priests and the prophets made their charges before the officials, and all the people, they said, "This man should be condemned to die, because he prophesied against this city. You have heard him do so with your own ears." Then Jeremiah made his defense before all the officials and all the people. "The Eternal One sent me to prophesy everything you have heard me say against the temple and against the city. But correct the way you have been living and do what is right. Obey the Eternal One your God. If you do, the Eternal One will forego destroying you as he has threatened he will. As to my case, I am in your power. Do to me what you deem fair and proper. But you should take care, note of this. If you put me to death, you will bring on yourself and this city and those who live in it in the guilt of murdering an innocent man. For the Eternal One has sent me to speak all this where you can hear it. This is the truth." Then the officials and all the people rendered the verdict to the priests and the prophets. They said, "This man should not be condemned to die, but he has spoken to us under the authority of the Eternal One, our God." Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, zechor ha'olamim, tzedak bechol hadorah, ha'el haneh emas, ha'omer ve'osher, ha'ma da'ber, u'he'em shechol davar rav emet v'tzedek.
Anna, would you like to come forwards? Could I ask everybody to stand, please? Miriam will lead us with the community prayers and the prayers for the royal family. Before Anna reads the prayers, you can join us here if that's okay. Anna will read the prayers for the state of Israel and also for Ukraine. Go ahead, Miriam. We're on page 484.
Sorry, I can't see it on the screen yet.
It's, page 484. I think, is that the Torah portion that's being shared? Perhaps?
No, it's the first one. Isn't it the I've got it on the screen.
I can't see it on the screen. It's got the end of the Haftorah, the bracha for the Haftorah.
It has the end.
Oh,
You need
it is
to
on the
do,
screen.
come out of screen share and then start again.
Okay.
At the moment we have the Torah portion shared.
Oh, fine. Okay. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Right, let's try again.
Let's try again.
Is that better?
Can't see it yet.
Thank you. Perfect, Judy.
Here we are. Fine. Okay. Eternal God, whose dominion embraces the universe, we are asking for our sovereign lady, Queen Elizabeth, and all the royal family, for those who govern our country and all who influence the quality of its national life. Make them conscious of their responsibility and teach them to over-exercise it in accordance with your will. May we all help to fashion in this country a society that excels in freedom and justice, tolerance and compassion, so that it may be a force for righteousness and peace in the life of humanity.
Eternal God, as you blessed our ancestors in generations past, bless now this congregation, its leaders and its members, and all who enter this synagogue to meet, to study, and to pray. Comfort the sorrowing hearts among us and heal those in pain or anxiety. May we all find here community and friendship, renewal of purpose and hope, a deeper understanding of our heritage, and a sense of your abiding presence. Bless all congregations of the House of Israel throughout the world. Let those who live under oppressive rule soon be freed, and may we all unite to witness to your truth and do your will.
Eternal God, our rock and redeemer, grant blessing to the state of Israel, created to fulfill an age-old dream and to be a haven for the oppressed. Inspire its leaders and citizens with faithfulness to the aims of its founders, to develop the land for the benefit of all its inhabitants, and to implement the prophetic ideals of liberty and justice. May they live in harmony with one another and in peace with their neighbors, and cause to come true once more the ancient vision that out of Zion shall go forth the Torah and the word of God from Jerusalem. Prayer for Ukraine. Eternal One, rock of our existence, the source and sustainer of life. As President Putin wages war on Ukraine and the forces of autocracy wreak havoc and attempt to instill terror and fear in every heart, we call on you to strengthen the people of Ukraine in their collective will to muster the courage and fortitude to withstand the onslaught, strengthened by the knowledge that democratic nations across the world stand in solidarity with them and will do everything necessary to support their efforts to resist the imposition of tyranny. Meanwhile, as ordinary people everywhere, like ourselves, witness the horror and feel helpless and hopeless in the face of overwhelming events beyond our control, we ask you to enable us to understand that we are not powerless to help, that our deeds, however small, matter, and that above all, knowing that despair is the dearest friend of tyrants, we have the obligation to hope and to demonstrate our constant fidelity to the enduring values of peace and freedom, equality and justice. May this be our will. And let us say, Amen.
Amen. Let us read responsively on page 488. God's teaching is perfect.
Enlighten the soul.
God's word is unfailing.
Make wise the simple.
God's precepts are right.
Enlighten the mind.
God's commandments are clear.
Enlighten the heart.
God's doctrine is pure.
Enduring forever.
God's guidance is true.
Adopted the just.
Behold, a good doctrine has been given you. Do not forsake it. It is a tree of life to those who hold it fast, and all who cling to it find happiness. Its ways are ways of pleasantness, and all its paths are peace. So the Torah portion today is from Va'et Hanan, Deuteronomy, chapter 4, verses 1 to 20, as we know. And we've also read from the book of Jeremiah. And those two portions, as you may have gathered, they're very, very much complementary. They're thematically linked, which we'll get to. But in terms of the Torah portion, the words we've read, the story so far. So the children of Israel have reached the borders of the Promised Land. And much of the words that we've read are devoted to Moses reminding the Israelites of God's power, of their history with God, the way that he delivered them from slavery in Egypt and has navigated them through the wilderness to this point. God reminds the people Moses reminds the Israelites that there is only one God and they must not worship others. He reminds them of the Ten Commandments. That comes a little bit later in the portion in Va'et Hanan, which we'll read in following weeks. And also we will read about the Shema and the imperative to share God's teachings with future generations. The Israelites will face many tests and challenges in the time to come. This is clear already by past experience. Moses knows this. But Moses also knows, as history has shown, when we look back on history and we think about the situation today, Moses also knows that for the Jewish people and in fact for the world, the future will be far from simple. But the message of this Torah portion, God's message that Moses is conveying, is that as long as the Israelites do stay true to the Torah, then God will keep faith with the covenant and they will flourish. If they stray, then they will not. As pointed out by in reading about this Torah portion, I came across a biblical scholar by the name of Dr. Jeffrey Tigay, and he is best known for the study of this book, the fifth book of the Torah, Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy is absolutely pivotal for several reasons. It's a book like no other. I mean, for one thing, it reviews the other books. Moses shares with us, shares with the Israelites. He reminds them of their journey with God, reminds them of God's power, reminds them of what they've been through, in order that they can get their act together, in order that they shape up. A bit like a parent. As parents, we're always reminding our kids, right? Reminders don't always work, so we often pile reminder upon reminder, don't we? We all know that situation. And this is kind of the situation that Moses is in. But it's a book like no other because it, in a way, it distills beliefs, attitudes, rituals. It plays a massive role in Jewish theology. And in fact, Maimonides, great Jewish philosopher, he cites Deuteronomy in his writings more than any other book. And he starts with the command, as we heard in today's Torah portion, to believe in God and God alone. Now, aside from beliefs and attitudes, Deuteronomy also strongly influenced ritual. The core of Jewish worship is in there. We come across the Shema in the book of Deuteronomy. The idea of reading the Torah in public, that's in Deuteronomy. So is Birkat Hamazon, grace after meals. Kiddush on Shabbat. Affixing a mezuzah to doorposts. Wearing tefillin. Wearing tzitzit. And giving charity to the poor. All of these are set out in Deuteronomy. But the most critical contribution of Deuteronomy is the insistence, it's repeated several times, on worshipping God and God alone. It is the essence of our people, the essence of the Torah, and it speaks to our integrity, the soul of the Jewish people. And another very, very important element is this aspect of a religion of Judaism being built around the study of ancient texts, the study of a sacred book. And that's also something that comes from Deuteronomy. And it's the idea of books that I wanted to move on to. Now the Jewish people are known as the people of the book. And my attention was drawn to a newspaper article, originally in the Independent, but actually I saw another version of it in the Daily Mail. It wasn't quite as exciting. So the version of the Mail only provided this statistic, but the Independent added something, which I'll get to. So here's the statistic, okay? Books. We love books. However, a survey has shown that we are communication-obsessed technophiles in this country. Supposedly, people spend an average of 121 hours per month on smartphones. It's about 4 hours a day, 3.7, 3.8 or so. And that includes time spent on social media, messaging, emailing, and on phone calls. Now, the original article in The Independent then goes on to suggest how many actual physical books we could read in that time, in 121 hours. And it came to the conclusion that we could read 24 books, including the following. Okay? Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, that's the short one, I know. Also, Handmaid's Tale, it's about 4.5 hours, that's your thing. Jane Eyre, about 9 hours. To Kill a Mockingbird, about 5.5 hours. And The Complete Chronicles of Narnia, that's almost 11 hours. Now, other books that would replace our smartphone binging include The Picture of Dorian Gray, The Great Gatsby, Lord of the Flies, Of Mice and Men, The Catcher in the Rye, that one I've read, Huckleberry Finn, Memoirs of a Geisha, Animal Farm, Pride and Prejudice. These are examples. Just think, it's something to think about, isn't it? the world that we live in. Now, we know, especially since the pandemic, that digital technology brings us so many benefits. It helps us to work, to stay connected, to learn about the world. And of course, this service is gloriously hybrid, and we're privileged to have people joining us on Zoom, on social media, from Barkingside, Romford, Cambridge, the Costa del Sol, Israel, wherever you happen to be on the planet, as well as a congregation in the building. And today we have Hagi joining us from Hackney to read the Torah as a native Hebrew speaker, which is a real blessing, for which we're very much grateful. But at the same time, reading Deuteronomy, it is so important that we're mindful about using technology the right way. The way we're using it today is to connect to the rituals, stories and traditions that are the essence of our people. And as it's a hybrid service, we're using it to share our service with others who want to join together to celebrate Shabbat, the most holy festival in Judaism, described by Abraham Joshua Heschel as a palace in time. Perhaps the technology enables us to extend the palace a little bit, to extend that architecture. But it makes us think all the more about how special it is on Shabbat that we do retain our authenticity, that we perform these rituals, that we open the ark, we take out the Torah scroll, we read the holy book in Hebrew, connecting us directly to our forefathers many, many generations ago. May we never fail to appreciate and enjoy and be mindful of this authentic essence, the authentic enrichment that forms such an integral part of who we are as a people. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
And we move to the concluding part of the service on page 520 of the ELELS. Can I ask the congregation to stand? עלינו לשבח לדון הכל, להציג גדולה ליוסר בראשית, אשר שם מלכנו לייחד את שמו, וגאול עלינו להמליך מלכותו. אנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסד הארץ, ומושב עיקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינתו זו בכוכי מרומים. הוא אלוהינו אחד, אמר מלכנו את פסולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשיבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Let's read together. Trusting in you, eternal God, we hope soon to behold the glory of your might, when false gods will vanish from our hearts and idolatry cease forever. Help us to perfect the world by bringing it under your unchallenged rule, when all will invoke your name, relinquish evil, and turn to you alone. May all who dwell on earth come to know that to you every knee must bend and every tongue speak words. Before you let them humble themselves, and to your glorious name let them give you honor. Let all submit to your sovereign rule. May that time come soon and last forever. For ultimate sovereignty is yours, and to all eternity you will reign in glory, as it is written, the Eternal One shall reign forever. And it has been said, the Eternal God shall rule over all the earth. On that day, the Eternal God shall be one and known to be one. ונאמר, וחיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ. ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. On page 522. Creator of the universe, you give us life in which joys and sorrows are commingled in accordance with your wisdom, and you send death with its promise of eternal peace. Teach us to accept humbly and courageously whatever burden is laid upon us. Comfort those who mourn, and let the light of faith illumine the darkness of their sorrow with the hope of immortality. Strengthen us at all times with an unfailing trust in your providence. And we think, especially at this time, of Sidney Levinson, of Norma Green, remembered by June, Alan Nienberg, friend of Mel Millenbach, of Michael Mather, a much-loved member of our community. We think about Morris Shaberman, Belvin Austin, Dee Gold, David Kaiser, Bob Somervell, Israel Sidney Gold, so the father of June. We remember Estelle Fraser, Estelle Tolving, and Margaret Jackson, late mother of Effie. May their memories be for a blessing. Let us say the Kaddish together, on page 524. Yitgadal v'yikadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach hiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, v'chayecho v'yomechon, v'chaye dechol Beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman karif v'imru, Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah muvurach le'olam v'alei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitadal shmei d'kudusho v'richu. Le'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata. De'amrim ba'alma v'imru, Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shamaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, Amen. Oseh shalom b'rumah, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol b'nei Adam, v'imru, Amen. Please be seated. We hand over to Stuart for the announcements.
Thank you, Nick. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. And thank you, Nick, for leading the service and your commentary on the Torah reading, and Judy and to Ezekiel for all the technical work behind the scenes. Brilliant. And thanks to all who took part. 11's group meets every morning at 11 a.m. From Monday to Thursday now, during the week. This Monday evening, there's a three-phase forum on refugees and it's on Zoom, and it takes place in person at the Ilford Islamic Centre. Coming up on Wednesday, we have one of our Hidden Pleasures series of talks, and given by two people who give such service to our community. Miss Sampson will be talking on her love of a mixture of folk music and science fiction music. So I'm not quite sure what it is, but she calls it filk music, and you know, I'm sure it'll be very interesting and very beautifully sung by Mrs. Normal. And Jonathan Young, our head teacher, who's working hard upstairs in the building, will be talking about his work and his teaching in drama and song and dance. So please try and be there on Wednesday evening. Next Sunday is the Sunday the 22nd, not tomorrow, Sunday the 22nd is the LJ Day of celebration, and details of how to get onto it, log onto it or go to it are included on the update, along with a lot of other things that are coming up very soon. Wishing Effie and all who mourn a long life, and Shabbat Shalom to you all. Take care. Shabbat Shalom. Lovely to see you in person there and in Zoom. Thanks. Thanks, Nick.
Shabbat Shalom. Thank you, Stuart. Let's join together with Adon Olam on page 525. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol yitzir nivra. Adon Olam, le'nasa b'etz kol, Adon Melech Shemo nikra. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol yitzir nivra, le'nasa b'etz kol, Adon Melech Shemo nikra. Be'acharei kiklos hakol, L'lemado yimlach Torah Adon Olam, V'hu haya, V'hu hoveh, V'hu yihye v'tifara. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol yitzir nivra, le'nasa b'etz kol, Adon Melech Shemo nikra. V'hu echad v'en sheni, L'hamshilo l'hamchira. Adon Olam, b'li reshit, b'li tachlit, v'lo ha'oz v'lo misra. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol yitzir nivra, le'nasa b'etz kol, Adon Melech Shemo nikra. V'hu Eli v'chai koli, v'tzoher li be'etz hara. Adon Olam, v'hu nisi u'manus li, manus li b'yom ekra. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol yitzir nivra, le'nasa b'etz kol, Adon Melech Shemo nikra. Be'yahavdo achit ruchi, be'et tisha b'ayelach. Adon Olam, be'im ruchi k'viyatzi, Adonai v'lo ira. Adon Olam, Asher Malach, B'terem kol yitzir nivra, le'nasa b'etz kol, Adon Melech Shemo nikra. Please stand. Eternal God, grant strength to your people. Eternal God, bless your people with peace. Adonai oz le'amo yiten, Adonai yivarech et amo v'shalom. Shabbat Shalom. So this is a few moments to gather your wine, your grape juice, and the challah, which we will certainly do here. And the congregation here represents each other. Shalom. It's a little bit trickier with those online because, of course, once everyone starts to unmute, it becomes difficult to pull everyone back in and get everyone together again. Okay, so here comes the.
Quite later on, wasn't it?
So the wine and the grape juice have been gathered. We're going to do Ezekiel. Maybe move the camera please so it shows the congregation.
I wonder if the king is.
Thank you.
I had to go flee to Egypt.
Oh yeah, that's right. In the weekend.
A lot of it in Egypt anyway.
Josh is on security, so we're making sure that he has as well. Right. Okay, let's turn the microphone. Great. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם לברית עולם, ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, בששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, וביום השביעי שבת ויהי הדבש. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, ולפרי הרפן. אמן. לחיים. לחיים. Blessing of bread. Here we are. There's our challah. That's right. So we can all. It's an ELELS tradition that we join to we all join to the challah. There we go. So we'll connect to someone who's connected to the challah. That's how we do it. Wonderful. So we can join to the screen as well. Up there, Ezekiel, if you can reach out to the camera, maybe. There we are. So we're all connected. That's it. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzii min haaretz. Amen. Shabbat Shalom.
Everyone.
Joining us, and to everybody on the stream, we're going to bid you farewell at this point. Those who are on Zoom may, I'm sure, have much to say to each other. You can all unmute and greet each other. But thank you so much for joining us. Shabbat Shalom.